So let's take a look at some of the more frequently asked questions that I've encountered in my experience in wholesaling real estate. Do you need a real estate license? Not in the vast majority of states or jurisdictions. I know in Chicago there is a stipulation that states if you are signed 2 or more in a year that you will need your license, and there's some conversation in litigation on the ballot, or legislation to say on some of the ballots in different parts of Colorado that state a similar stipulation. However, it hasn't taken hold across the nation, and for most part, no. But of course, check your jurisdiction, check your local laws, and but you do not need a license. I do know some people find it to be a beneficial to them to have a license and have that hybrid model so that they can really provide high level of service and provide tons of options. I know some folks like me who I do not have a license. I have considered it many times. I have felt at times that it may actually hold me back and slow me down, or maybe one of those creative avoidance things. And I just like taking action, and I want to dig deep into getting to work and making these deals come true, and didn't want to have one more thing to say, hey, once I finish this, I'll do that. But again, maybe that's a self-limiting belief, and perhaps it would be advantageous for me to go after my real estate license. But now I just have great connections with other realtors, and I'm able to, if the option to list it is the best for the client, or the route they want to go, then I'm able to connect them and quite often make a referral fee off of that. But do you need your license? No. Is it something you might want to have? You may want to consider it for your lifestyle and for yourself. It may be a great thing, or it may be a hindrance. But that's a more of a personal choice depending on your plans and your goals for your company. Is it legal? Yes, as it says, it is legal. Of course, again, follow all rules of your jurisdiction and of your state. But yes, wholesaling real estate is legal, just as wholesaling other merchandise and other items, and assigning your vested interest in other contracts is legal. Yes. Will people really sell their properties at a discount? And the answer to that is yes. It happens all the time, every day. Imagine the pawn shop. You walk into a pawn shop and you see all these items in there. Some of them seem like they're very valuable, and they were owned by people. These were personal properties with stories, with thoughts and ideas, and desires and everything behind them. And for some reason, someone walked into that pawn shop and they needed that service at the time. They needed that speed and that convenience to trade. Now, we are not serving a large population. In fact, of the 100 people we're talking to, maybe 5 will actually be someone that's even thinking about selling their property. And of those 5, maybe 1 will be someone who has a distinct issue that they're willing to trade speed and convenience for a discounted price. So the population, the percentage is very small, but the numbers are huge. I mean, if we're talking about 1% of the U.S. population, I taught second grade, but that is a great majority of people that are coming in and out of the industry day in and day out, month to month, who need to sell their property at a discount. And yes, when we are consistent, when we have quality conversations, when we serve at a high level, when we are serving from a place of giving and going, it is, even when you're not serving, it's impossible for you not to succeed. But when you're doing it in that way, you're going to be wildly successful with that consistency and that approach. Now, how long does it take to get a deal? Now, of course, this varies depending on your market, your niche, but for the most part, an average across the nation, I'm hearing, really is about 89 to 90 days from that first touch. Now, I've had some, I still have leads in my systems. I've been working for years. I am the follow-up king. I'm going to continue to follow up until the property is sold and moved on. Then I'll try to follow up with that property owner. But for the most part, it's the cycle is shorter for me, that it's around 89, 90 in my system. And that's pretty steady across the board. But please know that this is an act of, again, back to being instead of becoming, putting in the work, putting in the time and the right behaviors that's filling up your sales pipeline. We haven't talked about it yet, but this is really a funnel or pipeline that we're trying to build with consistent action. And the more we fill up the pipeline, the more consistent we will have deals closing. We won't have to worry about, is this deal closing tomorrow because we have all those deals that we've been working on, constantly working on, filling up our pipeline and ready to go. And where do I find deals? Oh, yes. Again, we are targeting distressed property owners. And there's a lot of ways someone can be distressed in this nation, whether they're divorced or perhaps they're going through, they've inherited the property and they need help um, dealing with that, or turning it into equity so they can actually have the money from that as opposed to just the real property. There's so many reasons. Perhaps they're an out-of-state landlord and they're tired of dealing with a tenant, or rehabbing or flipping, or being a landlord from out of state. Perhaps there's tax liens on the property. Perhaps there's foreclosure. There are so many reasons that people find themselves in distress and needing to sell their property at a discount. And our job is to find those folks, have quality conversations with them, and hopefully lead them in the right direction, that we're able to maximize for money as well. Now, where do you find buyers? This is, I think, my humble opinion, one of the easier parts. Now, there's a bit of debate going on. Do you find buyers first or do you find sellers first? And I always say yes. You can do both of them. Why not? There's an awesome tool of reverse wholesaling where you actually go network, find buyers, ask what their criteria are, where they're buying, how much they'll buy, what type of conditions they'll buy, and go and get those properties. That's the area that you stake out and you just dig consistent, and you find properties and you go to those buyers. And now you know that you have an end buyer, because nothing is valuable unless I'm tearing up the phrase, but something's only as valuable as how much someone's willing to pay for it. If you don't have buyers, then you really don't have a deal. But in my humble opinion, there are so many strategies to find buyers. We're going to go across so many of them, or go over so many of them in this course. But to me, my humble opinion is the most valuable one is actually having a deal. Having a real estate opportunity for them, I think, gives you so much leverage. So I lean more towards finding the actual deal in the contract. But it is not to say that it is not valuable to go out there and build relationship with buyers, find out what they want, and then go get it for them. I think both strategies are awesome. I think that every single day or every single part of your work schedule, you should be doing on the seller side and the buyer side, bringing in new data that helps you generate new leads, seller leads and buyer leads, and following up every day. So generating new leads and new data every day and following up every day. And this is this won't be the first time you hear me say that, and won't be the last time you hear me harp on those things. That's what's going to fill up your pipeline. And when you're able to identify the systems and the processes and the procedures that you use to do this, and you document that, oh my gosh, you're on the way to carving out a predictable, sustainable, profitable business for yourself. So awesome. Now, how can I find support to turn this into a profitable and sustainable business? Well, heck, you're in the right spot here. We're going to be able to help you out there with different tools. However, this is a process, and expertise and mastery is a process. It is not a destination. It is the journey, is the process. And that's why you should always commit to ongoing education. Tell me one successful person out there that doesn't have a coach or doesn't dig into their own education. And I'm not saying you have to stick around with me. I'm glad that we're part of each other's journey, and I hope that we continue to be a part of each other's journey in some form of fashion. However, it is not limited at all to me. You break out and you go out and find and be amazing, and connect with amazing people that push and challenge you. You can be the model. You are the model already. There's someone watching you right now. Give them a heads up and hands up by being the model and learning from their enthusiasm and their newness, and being able to, the questions they ask you reflect on things that you're doing and help strengthen you. So you want to be in a place where you're being pushed to be higher, and you're able to reflect on and pull someone up like a bridge builder. And so joining communities within the real estate wholesaling world is so important, as well as is important to join industries and businesses that are adjacent. You are a small business owner. So finding those spaces where other entrepreneurs and small business owners are, where you can learn from their experience, you can share your experience. It is an amazing thing. And of course, the most important thing is to do the work, to be able to identify the tools and systems that allow you to do this work in a sustainable way is what we're going to walk through. I'm excited again to be a part of that journey with you. Let's get started.